Okay, so are you ready to really dive deep into the work of Simon Sinek? We're talking leadership, honesty, living a fulfilling life, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Since you're all about personal growth and purpose and all.
It's funny, when you really look at Sinek's work, he goes beyond just, self-improvement. He's saying real fulfillment comes from serving others.
So it's not enough to just, I don't know, become a better you. It's how that helps you make a bigger impact.
Exactly. And that links right back to his main thing, the whole power of why idea, understanding what drives you, what your why is. That's key for a life of passion, real purpose.
It's like that feeling when you're super into something versus just going through the motions. Huge difference.
Totally. And Sinek says most people can't even say what their why is, which can leave you feeling lost, even if, on paper, things seem okay. Ever feel successful, but something's missing?
Like you reach a goal and it's not as satisfying as you thought.
Exactly. He talks about athletes who spend their whole lives trying to be the best, but then they get there, and it's emptiness. Because their why was limited, all about them.
So how do we change that focus? Find a why that truly fulfills us.
Sinek says lasting joy, it comes from aiming for something infinite, something beyond just us. Think about raising a kid or falling deeply in love.
It's about something bigger than ourselves.
Yes, it outlasts us, a family, a community, even an idea. Sinek even says stuff we see as personal, like meditation. That's actually service too.
Really? I always thought of meditation as for your own well-being.
Of course, but think about the ripple effect.
Yeah.
When we're more focused, more present,
Take the meditation, yeah.
we become better listeners, more empathetic, more present partners. We're sharpening those skills to show up for people.
I love that. It's like that story Sinek tells about taking a listening class. He thought he was a great listener because of his work, right? But his partner at the time, she challenged that. It's humbling. We all have blind spots.
Totally. And Sinek's all about getting feedback, even if it's tough to hear. He's big on vulnerability, not the oversharing kind, but those hard face-to-face talks that really build connection.
Being willing to admit we're wrong, ask for help, have those tough talks that make us grow.
Exactly. And this goes back to another thing Sinek's always saying, watch out for ethical fading.
Ethical what now?
Ethical fading. Little compromises, even white lies, they build up to huge ethical problems down the line.
Like a slippery slope.
Exactly. One compromise makes it easier to justify the next and the next. Sinek uses this example. A company raises the price on a life-saving drug just to hit their numbers. Legal, maybe? Ethical? I don't know. It's these small compromises.
That wear away at our integrity over time.
Yes. And it starts with those little white lies we all tell. Like telling your assistant you're not in when you don't want to take a call. Seems harmless, but...
It sets a precedent.
Right. Sinek actually challenges people. Go 48 hours, no lying, even those little ones. It's powerful. Makes you self-aware, responsible.
Makes you wonder how often we compromise without even realizing.
Exactly. And those little compromises, they create a culture of dishonesty, personally, professionally.
And speaking of work, Sinek's got some really interesting stuff to say about, the world after COVID, the whole Great Resignation thing.
He sees it as a reckoning. Decades of bad work cultures, bad leadership, and then bam, the pandemic. It forced us to face how fragile things are. Suddenly, job. Unbearable. It's like the pandemic ripped off the mask, Suddenly wasting our lives in jobs we hate. No way.
Totally. We had to face this great unknown, losing jobs, all the uncertainty, made us rethink what really mattered.
And that's where a strong why matters again, but this time, for the company itself.
Companies need a why, too, not just us as people.
Exactly. Sinek says companies need a purpose beyond just profits, beyond the perks, to really thrive. Think about Apple back in the Steve Jobs days. Their why wasn't just gadgets. It was about empowering people, shaking things up.
They were part of something bigger, so they got these passionate employees who believed in it all.
Exactly. So many companies miss that. They try to be fun. Ping pong tables, free snacks. But there's no real why underneath it all. Nothing that really connects with people.
They're mistaking perks for real culture, as Sinek would say.
Yes. It's about an environment where people feel connected to something with meaning, where they're valued, respected. This reminds me of that story Sinek tells about the Army Rangers. They had this whole different way of doing performance reviews.
The Spotlight Rangers. Love that story. What was it again?
So the Rangers noticed some guys, they only did well when the spotlight was on them. Great in front of the instructors, but...
But their real selves came out when no one was watching.
Exactly. Hence the name Spotlight Rangers.
So how'd they fix that?
They brought in these peer reviews and they made them just as important as what the instructor said or the soldier's skills. Being a good guy, a good teammate, even when no one's looking, that became key.
So powerful. And Sinek says this kind of 360 feedback, it's essential for any team that wants honesty, accountability. He even does it in his own company.
And he's clear. It's not about being mean. It's about creating this safe space to grow, to be vulnerable. He even says to start these feedback sessions by acknowledging, hey, this can be uncomfortable. Giving and getting criticism is tough.
It's reframing it as like an act of service, right? We care about each other, so we do this.
Exactly. And instead of judging, Sinek says leaders should be curious.
Like that tree of monkeys thing.
Yes. That analogy about how hierarchy hides the truth. Imagine monkeys in a tree, the ones at the top looking down, they see smiles. But the ones at the bottom looking up, totally different view.
You got to get different perspectives to really know what's going on in a team.
Exactly. And something else we forget, asking for help builds trust too.
Really? I think offering help would be better for that.
But asking for help, that's vulnerable. It shows humility, willingness to learn. Think about it. When someone trusts you enough to ask for help, that deepens things, doesn't it?
Totally. Makes you partners, sharing that responsibility.
Exactly. And that vulnerability, those tough talks, asking for help, that's how we connect on a deeper level.
Yeah.
As people and in the workplace.
Yeah, you're creating a place where people feel safe to be themselves, ask for help, have those tough conversations that make everyone grow, right? As people and as a team.
And Sinek says, this kind of environment, it's not just good vibes,
No.
It can actually give you an edge.
Yeah.
Especially with how the job market is now.
Makes sense. Companies want the best people, but it's hard to keep them. So having a good culture, a real sense of purpose, that's huge.
Absolutely. It's not just about the paycheck anymore or the fancy benefits. People want to be part of something bigger, something they actually believe in. Which, it makes me think Sinek himself, with his podcast, it seems like he's found that purpose. He talks about how much he loves learning from his guests, sharing it with everyone.
It's like he built a space for honesty, for real talk, which is what he's always saying we need in every part of life.
Totally. He wants to get to the truth, make a space where people can just be real, be open. And it's funny, he said he struggles to read actual books, but he's drawn to writing, to exploring these ideas.
It's like we all have our strengths, our weaknesses,
Yeah.
right? It's about finding how to use what you're good at for something you care about.
Exactly. And that takes us to, I think, Sinek's most important message. Find your why, the thing that makes life meaningful. He talks about leaving a legacy, not money or awards, but making the world better, even after he's gone.
He has that line, I love it. He says, a world where most people wake up excited to go to work, feel safe wherever they are, and end the day fulfilled. It's beautiful. He really believes in connection, in wanting to contribute to something bigger.
He does. And it makes you think, what about you? What do you want to leave behind? What impact do you want to make? How can you use your gifts to make a difference?
Big questions, right? This whole deep dive into Sinek, it's really made me think, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like fired up to figure out my why, to be more open, to really live a life that matters.
Me too, definitely. There's always more to learn, more to explore. But the best part is, there's always a better way to live, a way to live with purpose. And that makes it all worth it.